As moms, we care deeply about our kids, and as Christian moms, we care about their faith. Yet, most of us haven't been taught how to set spiritual goals. Today, I'm going to change that. Hi, I'm Nancy Marie Peterson. I've been a mom for 28 years. I have 6 kids. I've homeschooled for 20 years, and I'm super excited to share this with you, this spiritual goal setting concept. I love goals. I love goal setting. It's January, it's beginning of the year, and I get super excited about it. But I think as much as I am excited about my personal goals, setting spiritual goals for your family has huge, lasting impact. And today I want to kind of unwrap this. How do you walk that out? And, I don't want to go with guilt or unrealistic expectations. I want to go with realities. How do I walk that out today? So we're going to just break it down into just 3 kind of mindsets that you want to kind of shift. So let's start with the first one. Let's talk about big picture, small picture. Who do you want your kids to become? When you think of the big picture, at the end of the day, when they're adulting and they're doing whatever they're supposed to be doing and how they're in their career, what do you want for them? Do you want them to be churchgoers? Do you want them churchgoers? Do you want them to be service minded? Do you want them having a heart for the world or for missions or for the old or for the young? Like, what do you want when it's said and done? What do you want your child to be equipped with? So you're going to write out the big picture at the end of the day when they have left your home and they're launched and they're thriving in the world. What does that look like? So write out, I want them to be a part of a community of believers. I want them to have a consistent, quiet time, to know the value and the importance of that, to have a walk with Jesus. I want them to have good friends, all the things that you want for them. I want them to have a heart for missions. I want them to be tithers. Like, what do you want? I want them to know what fasting looks like. All the things that you want them to know spiritually. So that's the big picture. Then you want to break it down to kind of the smaller, a little bit more focused. So let's just focus on this year. So you think big picture, you've got 18 years, depending on where you're at in this journey. It's okay. You have plenty of time because even when they're launched at 18, you can still speak truth into them. I've learned that as a parent of adulting children. But you want to now narrow it down. What are some spiritual goals that you could focus on this year? And so that's what you want to start writing out. What of that big picture can we implement this year? So for instance, if I want my kids to have a quiet time, as a homeschooling mom, I kind of incorporate that into our homeschooling, but I also want them to see me do it. So I want to model it for them. I want to give them resources that they can start doing that. So that's maybe one of the small steps that I'm going to take walking towards that. Or if I want them to be involved in a church, then I need to make sure that we're in church every Sunday, that we're committed to a group of believers. If I want my children to have a love for missions and or to tithe, I want to make sure that I'm teaching my children that. Now, there's so much we can teach, but you want to narrow it down. So instead of maybe the whole year, you might have a few goals. So maybe this month, you're going to focus on really getting them plugged into a group. One year, my daughter came to me and she wanted a Bible study for girls and we couldn't find anyone. So she said, Mom, will you lead it? So I led a Bible study for girls at our house. They came over and we did it. So look for what can you do this month? So break it down. Maybe you do it for 2 months and you focus on it. Doesn't mean you're not doing the other things. It's just you're really laser focused on a few things. So you think of the big picture, write that down, and then break it into small, doable parts. And I want to remind you that spiritual goals aren't just tasks that you check off. They're mindsets, they're shifts, they're heart driven. All right, so that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing we're going to talk about is rhythms. So what rhythms are naturally going already in your house? New rhythms that you need to start and rhythms that you need to stop. So let's think of, first of all, what are you already doing? And let's intentionally stop rhythms that are no longer working for us. So let's think of this as a big buzzword, rhythms. And what does that mean? It just means simple, repeatable things that you do in your family that establish consistency. It can be a family prayers, it can be memorizing scriptures, it can be devotions, it can be a bedtime blessing, it can be prayers over meals. What are some of the routines that you're already doing? Then create, what rhythms do I want to start? So we don't pray at our meals. Well, we should pray at our meals. Oh, I should have my kids pray at meals. So not just me praying every time, teaching them to pray. I think that was one of the benefits that we did way back when, is when they were itty bitty and they got to pray over the meals. It helped them establish this culture in our family that it's okay to pray. It's not this big kind of weird thing. So often families, just the dad prays or just the mom's prays, and the kids never pray. And so when they're asked to pray, they kind of freeze in front of the family. Prayer should be just something naturally you do. Okay, that's just a tangent I got off on. Think of some rhythms that you want to incorporate. So, what are some new rhythms that you want to start doing? And then also, what rhythms do you need to stop? What rhythms are you naturally doing that you need to look at and go, that's not who we want to be? So maybe it's let me think of a few rhythms. Okay, so maybe you're always late to something. So maybe you need to create a peaceful rhythm in your home that you prepare, you plan, keys are by the door, you have a place that everything goes, that you're creating more of an atmosphere of peace. You need to stop rushing out the door. So maybe that means you have to cut out some things in your schedule. Your schedule's just too packed and you're not able to pull all this off without it being chaotic. So if it's not bringing you peace, maybe you need to stop that rhythm in your house. So think about, this is a good one. A couple of years ago, the book Anxious Generation came out, and it talked about how much our kids are on screen and how damaging that is for them. Maybe you need to stop screens. Maybe you need to say, okay, Monday through Friday, we have no screens. Our rhythm will be in this house. We don't do screens, but we do screens on the weekend, or we have this. So think of what rhythms need to stop in your home. So we've talked about big picture, small picture. We talked about rhythms, starting new rhythms and stopping rhythms. The third part is faith must be both taught and caught. I think so often we've heard this, oh, they need to watch you, you need to model it, and that's how they're going to get it. It's bigger than just modeling it. Yes, absolutely, you have to model it. If you want your kids to go to church, you need to go to church. If you want your kids to tithe, you need to tithe. If you want your kids to have a daily devotional, a walk with God that's vibrant and real, you need to have that. It starts with you. So you need to have all these parts. But the second piece that I think so many families miss is the importance of verbally actually teaching your kids. Sometimes it's easier as a homeschooling mom to teach my kids this spiritual concept. And sometimes it's harder for families that maybe aren't in that bubble, whatever you want to say. But it is so important that you do both, that you model it, but you also teach it. If you want them to know the importance of tithing, you show them tithing, but you also teach them what is tithing? What does that mean? If you want them to have a Bible devotional time, you need to give them resources that they can do that. Here's the truth. Families will just naturally drift. And if you're not intentional within your family, they won't drift closer to God. Most likely, they're going to drift away. So you have to really be intentional as a mom, creating spiritual goals for your family. No, you cannot carry that faith for your child. They have to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, but you are mandated to walk them towards it, to guide and to teach them and to train them and to lay it on their heart. That's your mandate. Deuteronomy 6. That's your job. They have to walk it out. They have to decide for life. But I think there's so many different components to the spiritual guiding. And I wrote a book. It's called Intentional Mom, Unshakable Faith, 7 Strategies for Raising Godly Kids. And I put together this book because it's what I needed, what I was looking for. How do I raise godly kids? How do I have kids that have a vibrant, real, steadfast faith? How do you do that? What components do you need? And I researched and I looked at other families and I went and studied everything I could possibly get my hands on. And I put together in this book, and I have 7 strategies that help you. And one of the strategies is spiritual formation within your family. And that's what we're unwrapping today. So I want you to not think of it as this big, lofty thing, and it's only what those spiritual families do. No, it's baby steps. It's what you're learning, you teach them. As you grow, you help them grow. It's the same thing as with anything, with homeschooling, with training. You help them. As you learn to make certain meals, you teach them how to make meals. As you have learned to drive, you teach them how to drive. It's the same concept. As you learn who Christ is, you help them learn who Christ is. And you help develop that faith. You build that spiritual formation, which is a fancy way of saying just a personal connection with God. So hopefully I have challenged you. Hopefully I've broken it down simple enough that you know you feel confident enough that you can walk it out, because you can. It's our calling. It's our mandate. It's what God placed us in authority to do with our children. And so often it gets lofty and it gets too big and it just feels unrealistic or stuffy or too hard. And so we just back away and we just hope they catch it. We're going to just model and we just hope they kind of catch it. And I want to challenge you is you need to teach it, not just hope they catch it, but you need to teach it. And that is by setting goals. So the first thing you need to do is find out the big picture. And when you visually and you write it down, you can see it clearly instead of just thinking, yeah, I want them to be Christians. I want them to love God. What exactly does that look like? What parts really matter that will help them solidify that? Then start today by just breaking it down and teaching those few pieces. Create rhythms in your family that will help them. And then at the end, teach it, model it, and teach it. Now, I know there's so much to this, and I've just scraped the surface. So, if you need more in depth, there's so many different resources. I have this book coming out, so check that out. I'm not perfect. I don't have perfect kids. We don't have it all together, but I am standing at the other end of watching my adulting kids absolutely serve God, do their best, serve their community, love. I have a child who's a family nurse practitioner. She did it so she could be a missionary, and she's married to a missionary. I have a son who's a missionary. I have a daughter who's a mom with raising two grandkids, and she's teaching them how to love God and directing them. She was a teacher before that. I have a daughter who's working at a Christian school as their financial something. She's an accountant. I have another daughter in Bible college right now that's seeking God and trying to learn. They're actively participating in youth groups and serving in youth groups or leading youth groups. And I love it. And it's not me. I can't say, well, look at me. I mean, look at this and my kids. That is not, that is the grace of God. And that is because I took baby steps to be obedient. There's so much I missed, and I wish I could do it better. And I wish I could have created more rhythms in our family and different parts. But you have to trust that when you give your best and you stay on your knees and you pray, God will direct you. And He will also cover your inadequacies. His grace covers us. When we miss parts, He fills it in because we are not 100% responsible for their relationship with Christ. That's personal. That's what they're going to build and that's what they're going to get. But we are responsible to train and teach them, to guide and direct them. That's where we hold. They're responsible to accept it, but we're responsible to lay out all of that. All right, it's a heavy concept. I get it, and I know, and I have just really struggled with it over so many years until I realized that it really can be easily broken down. And if you just walk, I mean, I remember looking for catechism books and books to train them. And I mean, I was looking for the perfect thing. And really, it's within your heart. Really, it's deciding what do you want at the end of the day. When they become adults, what does that look like and how do you get there? And walking out those steps to get there, creating the big picture, the small picture, the rhythms, and the modeling and teaching it. So it's more simple and more doable than you think. It's not this fancy formal kind of concept. It's really relatable and it's really doable as a mom. And if you simplify it and you take just small steps, action steps towards where you want to go, it will have a huge impact in their future. And it will carry on to their kids and to their kids. So be intentional, mom. Get a few things together. I'll leave resources to give you some ideas to help guide you that will help you kind of just map this out for yourself and create your own spiritual formation, your spiritual goals for your family. It's not as big and as unapproachable as it sounds. It's actually very doable, and it's just part of your heart as a mom. You just need to tap into that and invite the Holy Spirit as you guide this out. He will guide, He will direct you, and He will give you the desires of your heart. He will give you the wisdom. He will give you everything you need to walk it out. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to have it in your own strength. It is His power that helps us walk this out in our homes. So I hope you understand that I do not have perfect kids. I am not perfect, but I try to stay obedient. I try to stay intentional with everything that I'm doing. And that's why we're on the path we're on. So hopefully I've encouraged you. Hopefully you have unpacked this and you see it's doable. It's not so untouchable. And it's actually something that you can do and you can start today. All right. Hopefully, I've equipped you with some resources that will help you. And as always, stay intentional, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.